Welcome to the Garage USA. I'm Jonathan Brinke, and a couple of months ago, I did my first Cannonball Run. Thanks for joining me. A couple of months ago, my brother and I did a Cannonball Run attempt. And for those of you that don't know what a Cannonball Run is, I will give you a little history. Since the advent of the automobile, people have been crossing the country. The first successful cross-country road trip was done by Dr. Horatio Jackson, who in 1903 crossed the country from San Francisco to New York in a 1903 Winton. There were later successful attempts done by teams with sponsors and factory cars such as Oldsmobile. Most notably, Irwin Cannonball Baker crossed the country multiple times on different vehicles, cars, motorcycles, basically anything he could go across country on, he would. And that's how he earned that nickname Cannonball, because he kept flying back and forth across the country. Fast forward to 1971, and Brock Yates and his gang of self-proclaimed outlaws, in protest of the upcoming federal speed limit, decided to do a run from New York City to Redondo Beach, California. And that is now where the traditional modern start and end points are for the Cannonball Run. Now in 1981, the film came out with Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise and a host of other big-name celebrities. And that's where I first heard of the Cannonball Run, was actually through the movies. Later to discover it was an actual event that happened. So current Cannonball Runs are done in, either small groups or individuals do the run. The official start point is the Red Ball Garage in New York City, and the end point is the Portofino Hotel in Redondo Beach, California. And the current record holders did that run in right around 25 hours, I believe. And it was done in a highly modified V10 powered Audi, disguised as a patrol car. And I knew that in my run, I did not have the means to build a car that was going to beat that time. I did just want to get a sports car to do the run in, and so in April, I did purchase this Ford Mustang. It is a V6 with a 6-speed manual transmission, and I did get my brother as my co-driver, and we set off one Saturday in July and went from Minnesota. The first night we drove from Minnesota to Pennsylvania, where we stayed in a hotel there. The next day we went to New York City and drove down to the Red Ball Garage, where our run did begin. We immediately got into some heavy rain in New Jersey, and it just downpoured. It was awful. It was hard to see, but we soldiered on, and eventually we got through the rain and got back into Pennsylvania, and then the fog set in, and it was almost impossible to see the road through Pennsylvania. And then we did see some pretty cool things in Pennsylvania. We saw a car fire that kind of lit up the sky. It looked like a Chevy S10 that was burning up alongside the road. So that was interesting. Ohio, pretty boring as we went through there. Indiana, there's not much to see in Indiana. And then Illinois, we kind of went south in Illinois, and again, not much there. We stopped in Iowa at the world's biggest truck stop. We got some fuel there. Well, we made a couple of stops along the way, but one of our stops was the big truck stop there in Iowa. And then again, we saw another car fire in Iowa. And we got into Nebraska, and we drove through Nebraska at night, and we did have to make a stop because it was so pitch black, and I don't know if it's the Mustang or what the deal was, but the lighting on this, not very good, and we struggled to see the road through Nebraska, so we did end up stopping for a couple hours to let the sun come up a little bit, and got back on the road, so there was a delay there. And as we're driving through, well, on Saturday we had heard that I-70 was closed west of Denver, and so we had to go through and change, and it added probably, I think Google Maps said it was like a 3-minute difference or 5-minute difference or something like that, but rather than go through Colorado, we went through, it would have been Wyoming and Utah, and then down through just a little bit of Arizona and Nevada on our way to California. So I had not been through that part of Wyoming before, and so that was really cool to see that state. It was really spectacular. And Utah surprised me because I guess I didn't know how beautiful the state of Utah is. It was something that, when I think of Utah, I think of Salt Lake City and Mormons, and so I really don't have any other, or didn't have any other grasp of what that state was, and so that was really fun to go through Utah. Again, that little sliver of Arizona we went through, just spectacular views of the mountains, and then Nevada. And then we got to Vegas, and it was getting late, and we had never been to California before. I think my brother had been for the military, but we hadn't been to this part of California, and I knew that we were going to get there incredibly late, like at 2 or 3 a.m., pulling into Redondo Beach at that point, and we weren't sure what we were driving into or how safe it was going to be or whatever, and so we decided that we would just stay the night in Vegas. We weren't going to set any records, so we stayed the night in Vegas, got up the next day, and then drove into California during the day, and got to Redondo Beach, which, by the way, seems pretty nice. I would have no qualms about showing up there now at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and now that I've been there, not satisfied with my time. I knew going in that I wasn't going to set a record, but just still with the delays, with the rain, the fog, not being able to see in Nebraska, and then staying that night in Vegas, it just really, the numbers just aren't good. So, but overall it was a good time, and I do plan to make another Cannonball Run. I'm probably going to do it again this spring, but I really felt with it being the 50th anniversary of that first run by Brock Yates and the 40th anniversary of the film. I really just wanted to get it done this year, and it was a blast. And if you ever get a chance to do it, I would. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, give it a share, comment, and subscribe. I'd like to thank you for watching The Garage USA. I'm Jonathan Brinke, and I'll see you next time.